last video I was talking about corruption. Now, where does corruption come from? It comes as a side effect of having a government. When someone has authority to be able to coerce other people against their will, eventually what ends up happening is people will try to subvert or corrupt that person in order to get their way. So the solution is to get rid of government. So, in order to get rid of government, in order to get rid of corruption, you got to figure out where government comes from. I made the example that if everyone today that was Muslim were to wake up Wiccan, except for the clerics, the royals, and the imams and all that, were the only ones to remember that, but everyone else woke up, all the Qurans were to disappear, all the literature would disappear. These people who are left, these royals and people with authority, will find themselves in a minority surrounded by these Wiccans. And they will try to use their morality to get people to do as they wish. They are going to be seen as insane by these new Wiccans. So they will lock these people up because they will be seen as crazy as they should be. And then what will happen is, because this new idea, this new narrative that just magically appeared in all these people's minds, you will start seeing pagan temples, Wiccan temples appear to replace the mosques. This is nothing new, folks. This is already happening to another idea. Christianity at its height of power, every place it went, everywhere it go, you would have cathedrals everywhere. You would have churches everywhere. It influenced philosophy, influenced science, it influenced government. As soon as the idea of Christianity fell out of favor, as long as it started getting erased from other people's minds, is when the church began to lose power. That's when the politics that were influenced and shaped by Christianity lost power and legitimacy. As soon as the narrative was lost, power in that government was lost. Now you see various places in Europe in ruin, decay, or being demolished. It's as soon as the narrative disappears, everything related to that narrative, even if it's as big as the biggest church you can have, will soon as vanish as if it never was. This is the nature of any government. It is not a physical, independent entity. It is an entity that has an origin within the mind of the populace. If you are to erase the narrative from the populace's psyche, you will erase all physical remnants of the said culture and government and society. Now, right now in front of me, I have a chair. It is independent of me. It does not require a narrative for me to exist. I could forget what a chair is, all knowledge of a chair, and it will still be there. So, but with governments, that's different. As soon as the narrative of what supports it disappears, everything related to it vanishes as if it's a ghost. This is what we're fighting against, folks. We're not fighting against physical entities. We're not fighting against people. We're fighting against an apparition. We are fighting against a ghost. And there is other chances that you can observe. Right now, if you're watching this video, you are having on a computer. Where did computers come from? About 100 years ago or so, there was science fiction. Science fiction talking about all the possibilities of what science can do for us. All the wonders of technology. Once that fire is spread enough through all the artistic mediums and communication mediums we have, writing, art, movies, whatever, spread to enough minds, or igniting enough imaginations of the a significant number of the imaginations of the world populace, is when the technology began to manifest into our world. Now let's say everything that we know how to build these things, all the math, all the know-how, all the engineering, everything, were to suddenly vanish. All the books and all the knowledge in everyone's head were to disappear. Suddenly we just woke up and we just forgot how all this stuff works. We forgot all knowledge about it. What would happen? These things would stop manifesting in our reality, and eventually the technology will fade or disappear. This is a pattern. What I'm saying is, if you want to get rid of the government, you have to get rid of all the narratives that are propping it up. You have to erase it. So once you erase all narratives, you erase the government, you erase corruption. The problem with that is that sounds like nihilism. And just saying people to destroy things isn't enough to motivate them. You have to give them hope. So what are we going to replace these narratives, including the political correctness and social justice crowd, which is toxic as fuck, and is also been absorbed by the U.S. government as one of the narratives to prop up the government? What would you have to offer? Well, I believe that to a large degree, the social justice crowd is correct that we are born as tabula rasa. We are born naturally good people. We want to be in a state where we're naturally moral. And it is the conditioning that has made us do this way, made us act this way and support things that give manifestation to these so-called ghosts. Ghosts such as government and ghosts such as authority and corruption, all that. I say we take it one step further. What we do is we say that all narratives, we're going to pervert the social justice thing. We're going to say all narratives in America that exist right now are designed to create a government. When you create a government, you create authority. When you create an authority, you create the possibility for corruption. When you create corruption, you create all sorts of inequality. You create political inequality, you create social inequality, and you create financial inequality. Eventually, the system will become uneven. Someone in such a system that is corrupt will be at the bottom. They will be the discriminated ones. So using and perverting the social justice narrative for our ends, we are to say all narratives are racist, are discriminatory, and bigotry. This would allow us to mix in with the social justice crowd and use them to start erasing all the narratives. And then we can encourage them to erase their own narrative. But what is the plan, Sideways 8, afterwards? And how do we erase all these narratives? I'll cover that in my next video.